And a huge update to what we talked about yesterday with Ukraine, American-made long-range missiles have now been fired into Russia for the very first time. And specifically, Ukraine reportedly launched at least 6 US-provided ATACMS missiles at a weapons depot in a region bordering Ukraine and Belarus, with then the Russian Defense Ministry claiming that 5 missiles were shot down and 1 was damaged, and saying with that there were no casualties or damage. And then Russia's foreign minister claimed that the attack was a signal that the US is the one seeking escalation. Right, and that because this attack happened thanks to Joe Biden authorizing Ukraine's use of the weapons to strike inside Russia, which notably has also led to some European allies also considering lifting restrictions. Or the UK, for example, they're now expected to supply Ukraine with Storm Shadow missiles for striking inside Russia. Though this is Germany, on the other hand, is sticking with their decision to not provide its Taurus missile system to Ukraine. And then, with all this, we now have Vladimir Putin signing a revised Russian nuclear doctrine that lowers the threshold for his country's use of nuclear weapons, with this new doctrine specifically saying aggression against the Russian Federation or its allies by any non-nuclear state with the participation or support of a nuclear state is considered as their joint attack. And so what that means, at least in theory, is that a US-backed conventional weapons attack, like the one that literally just happened, it could trigger a nuclear response. That is, if Russia deems the attack a critical threat to the, quote, sovereignty and territorial integrity of Russia and its ally Belarus. And so with this, on one hand, that might make you think that people opposed to lifting weapons restrictions had a point. And maybe they do. But then on the other hand, this isn't actually new. Putin actually outlined these new rules back in September, right? He's just making them official now. And then of course, beyond that, he's been brandishing Russia's nuclear arsenal to discourage Western aid to Ukraine since virtually day one of this war. Also, notably, America allowing Ukraine to use these missiles is a response to Russia all of a sudden bringing in tens of thousands of North Korean troops to fight. And then finally here, with all this, you had the Russian foreign minister saying today that Russia is strictly committed to a position of avoiding nuclear war and that the weapons act as a deterrent. Though of course, when we're talking about war, none of it should be taken lightly. And then also with that specifically out of the way, it's not just nuclear attacks that people are worried about from Russia. Like for example, we got to talk about these 2 undersea fiber optic communications cables in the Baltic Sea that have just been mysteriously severed, with a spokesperson for the company that owns one of the cables saying these kinds of breaks don't happen in these waters without an outside impact. And then with that, you had the German defense minister saying no one believes that the cables were accidentally damaged. We have to state, without knowing specifically who it came from, that it is a hybrid action, and we also have to assume without knowing it yet that it is sabotage, with of course there the prime suspect being Russia, which we know 1 is extra pissed off right now, and 2 is already accused of all sorts of sabotage in Europe, right from spying to arson to assassination, though to be clear, neither Germany or other countries are directly accusing Russia of destroying the cables right now, because at this point we really have no evidence exactly of what happened or who's behind it. But yeah, just something you should be aware of, and if for any reason you feel like you need to research what you might need to do, Fallout is a great show on Prime. Hey, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this clip from the full Philip DeFranco show. And also, a big thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring our Clips channel. Turn your passion into profit over at squarespace.com/Phil or use the QR code. Because whether you're launching a business or a lucrative side hustle, your website is your digital business card. It's the only space where you control the story, no algorithms or distractions. And with Squarespace, it's so easy because they got a ton of stunning professional templates with drag and drop editing that makes site design incredibly simple, no coding required. So get started for free at squarespace.com/Phil or scan the QR code on screen and use code Phil for 10% off when ready to launch. Squarespace.com/Phil.